like to welcome David Rice, who is a retired civil engineer who is a volunteer for Engineers Australia. He co-leads a team of engineers that are working on climate management tools. Would you please tell us a bit about the energy transition and the need to start now?
Certainly. The first point I would make is that climate change is real. We've gone past the time when people who are denying it have a lot of credibility. Unfortunately, they've been able to delay a lot of the transition that we so urgently needed about 10 or 20 years ago. So that's why it is even more important now. So the real problem is that the climate is warming much faster than a lot of people have realized. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, is the go-to scientific body for that, and it's a remarkable organization. But anyway, they've been producing reports, I think, about every 5 years for the last 5 or 6 periods. And every time they look at it, they see that the climate is warming a bit faster than their modelling predicted some time ago.
The impacts of CO2 are connected in a crazy cycle. It is tied to so many environmental issues: melting ice sheets, sea level rise, flooding, bushfires, loss of ecosystems and drought. We see these events popping up in the news every year now, the direct cause being CO2. And what is driving these emissions? Our energy sector. Our World in Data and CSIRO gathered the data, and 70% of our emissions are created by energy production. 70%. This is mainly our transport, manufacturing and domestic electricity usage. All of these areas have the possibility to run off renewable energy. Electric vehicles have been designed. Renewable energy sources do make up a percentage of the grid. However small, these technologies do already exist. We currently have the knowledge to remove a driving cause of CO2 emissions. It just needs to be developed at a larger scale. Aside from the devastating environmental impacts, there is an energy crisis itself. Our modern world has increasing energy demands as we move into the future. Energy demands of improving lifestyles and growing populations are increasing, while our fossil fuel supplies are dwindling. These fossil fuels will be gone eventually. Wouldn't you rather there be a voluntary transition rather than a difficult, rushed and forced change? We've talked to people about their thoughts on the matter, and this is what they've shared.
How many years do you think it is until we're predicted to run out of oil and gas?
I think maximum will be 10 years.
Probably like 2080 maybe.
It's changing, isn't it? It's not only like, it's like our lifetime, isn't it? It's like 50?
Yeah, 50 years,
50,
is that
exactly.
correct? Yeah. What do you think are good solutions to the energy crisis?
We shift our usage of energy to renewable energy.
Do you know of any solutions for the energy crisis?
Not into politics, not really.
Renewable energy or anything like that? Yeah.
Get on Teslas.
Definitely more renewable energy sources, more like solar, wind, stuff like that.
Have you ever considered or heard about offshore renewable energy?
Yes.
No idea.
Not really, no.
Roughly estimate how much of our energy do you think currently comes from offshore renewable energy?
For renewable.
As a percentage?
20%.
I'm not sure, maybe 20%.
Since I don't even know what offshore renewable energy is, I wouldn't know. Yeah. Maybe 5%.
20%?
Yeah.
It's actually 0% currently.
0%.
Not everyone might have heard about ocean energy yet. However, offshore energy sources can be the game changer in the energy transition, and here is why. The world's oceans cover 70% of the Earth's surface, providing an area by far superseding available land areas, and consequently holding an astounding amount of untapped energy. Theoretically, the potential of ocean energy is equivalent to more than double the world's current electricity demand. When referring to ocean energy, there are 3 different types of energy production. Firstly, offshore wind energy. Secondly, offshore solar energy. And thirdly, tidal and wave energy.
So the transition that we need fundamentally is to get us off what has been really important to our civilization up to now, which is fossil fuels, coal, oil and gas and transition to renewable energy.
Offshore wind energy is a front-runner to meet global electricity demand. It's far ahead of offshore solar and wave, as leading countries such as China, the UK, Germany and Vietnam have developed offshore wind farms. The key to its efficiency lies in the relentless strength of offshore winds. Unlike onshore locations where wind speeds can be inconsistent, offshore winds are more reliable. With meticulous planning and scientific precision, vast wind farms can be strategically constructed on the open sea. Solar energy isn't limited to rooftops. The vast surface of our oceans and other water bodies offer a massive surface area for harnessing the power of the sun. Countries situated along the equator, blessed with constant year-round sunlight and calm oceans, stand to gain the most. The possibilities for floating solar farms are enormous, promising clean and renewable energy to countries with limited land areas whose oceans don't offer strong wind and wave conditions. Waves are more than just a picturesque feature of our oceans and possess untapped energy potential. You can feel this power if you've ever been dumped by a wave at the beach. Globally, it's estimated to generate around 29,500 terawatt hours, which is relatively significant and can make a difference. While this may not rival the colossal numbers of offshore wind energy, it offers a steady and reliable source of power, particularly for small towns in coastal regions. Wave energy serves as a sustainable and consistent option, complementing the overall effort to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels. The ocean is a wild, powerful thing, and that's part of the reason we have the potential to harness its energy, but with this wildness comes some complications. Construction, running and maintaining these offshore sites for all types of ocean energy can be challenging and is very expensive. Construction, for example, can be risky and only possible during certain seasons, and it's very costly. Regarding maintenance, a prominent issue are the cables transporting the energy from the production sites back on shore. Those cables are exposed to an amount of natural processes such as storms, fish, friction, and many others. Technology, of course, is continuously improving, but in the renewable energy sector, there is a reason offshore energy is lagging behind onshore projects due to the challenges of the environment. One of the biggest challenges, of course, as always, is money. In order to make the energy transition happen in due time, a lot more investment is needed. Yet, as this graph shows, some credit should be given to the international effort, as there is a clear trend towards clean energy investments identified in the light blue. A part of this would include offshore projects.
If, in the future, you were seeing turbines on the horizon, is that something that would bother you?
Turbines, like massive wind turbines?
Yeah.
No, not unless it's in front of my house or something. And yeah, I wouldn't really care about it.
No, interesting that you say that. There's a NIMBY effect, so people like the idea of renewable energy, but not in my backyard.
That's true, yeah.
Examples from Ohio or Vermont in the US show that NIMBY is a major threat for the rise of renewable energy, and that people might want offshore wind energy, but only if it is not placed on their local beach. In order to overcome NIMBY, the idea of change has to be communicated in a positive manner, highlighting that a wind turbine on the horizon means that your backyard is actually green and healthy and supporting a sustainable future. If this change of perspective is fostered by early adopters, such as the younger generation in schools, we can hopefully overcome NIMBY in time. While we've heard about the challenges, let's now shift our focus to the immense benefits ocean energy brings us. By tapping into the power of the ocean, we can effectively combat global warming. Unlike fossil fuels which release harmful greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, ocean energy systems produce clean energy without contributing significantly to the carbon emissions responsible for climate change. This means that when harnessed on a large scale, ocean energy can play a vital role in significantly reducing our carbon footprint and help mitigate the damaging effects of global warming. Looking beyond clean power, there are other side benefits that go hand in hand with developing these offshore structures. The underwater support structures, although not natural, can provide structures for biofouling and, if purpose designed, could become artificial reef sites and seaweed plantations, benefiting marine ecosystems or even creating new ones. Artificial reef sites enhance marine diversity, become thriving underwater communities. Importantly, these artificial reefs also contribute to the structural integrity of the turbine support structures, enhancing their overall stability. Seaweed plantations integrated into these structures serve as vital CO2 sinks, mitigating climate change. They also improve water quality by reducing ocean acidification and create habitats for marine life. This innovative approach unites clean energy production with environmental conservation, reversing some of the impacts of the initial disruption to an underwater environment during construction stages. Another compelling advantage of ocean energy lies in its sustainability. Unlike finite fossil fuels that are gradually depleting, the energy generated from the ocean is renewable. It can be harnessed year-round, perpetually for the rest of our lives and for future generations. This means that as long as the oceans continue to exist, we have a reliable energy source at our disposal, providing energy security and reducing our dependence on fossil fuels, and hopefully eliminating them entirely one day.
But the good news is that we've got all the technology, we know exactly what to do. We're still trying to fight a rearguard action with those people that have a vested interest in fossil fuels, and this includes the big gas companies, because they're quite right in saying we need gas as a transition, and we do, absolutely, because gas is much less carbon intensive than coal and oil, but we'll only need it for as short a time as possible. And I'm thinking like 10, maybe 20 years, whereas the gas industry, they're still seriously planning on being able to use gas in the 2070s, which is a much longer time period. So if there's one takeaway message from all of this, is keep asking whoever you can come across, your tutors, your colleagues, anybody that you know in the oil and gas industry especially, and ask them, what are you doing about this? Because not only our lives as we know them today, but the lives of many, many species will be dependent upon it. There's still time, but we have to move now.